Welcome back to Chen Design. This is PJ. In today's jewelry CAD tutorial, I would like to show you how to make this pendant, arrange the stone, hollow out from the back for this pendant design. Are you ready? Let's get started. Before we start making this pendant, one thing we need to keep in mind that the center stone size might affect how many stone is going to be around it. So depends on the size of a stone, your arrangement might be different. Alright, that's starting from the scratch. Let's bring in the stone, and you can download the stone file in the description below. Just sign up a newsletter and then you'll get a link for it. Once you have a stone size into the size that you like to have, roughly I have this one for 5mm, and then we're gonna come into the top view. Now I wanted to do is draw a rectangle, so I'm going to using the rectangle center and type it 0 right there as my center. Now I want this one to be square, so holding the shift key will allow you to do a square right there. We want to get it as close as to the stone and roughly like this. Okay, once you have that, I want to rotate it for 45 degrees, so I'm using the gumbo rotate 45 degree, type it there, and you will turn in the orientation for 45 degree. All right, now this square is really harsh, so how we gonna get the shape is nicer and smoother? By using the command for rebuild. With the rebuild command, you're gonna, as soon as you click on it, you're going to see that it's kind of turning into a really small, smooth surface. It's more like a star looking things. And that's what we're looking for. So at my point count, I set it up for 12, and my degree set it up for 3, and then we click OK there. Alright, so the shape is really close for what I want, but I do want it to have this bump right here. When it coming in, coming out, another bump. So if I'm moving those two coming out like that, you're gonna notice I'm losing that curve right there. So in fact, I will need to have a more point. And let's go ahead to use a rebuild one more time. Instead of a 12 point, let's try a 16 point. And see what happened. As you can see now, I have a 1 extra point right there in the middle. Whatever you're going to do, you have to do the number that you can divide it by 4. So let's try, if I try next level for 20, and this is what we get, and let's click OK. Alright, so now you can see I got one more control point right here. If I'm moving up those two, I'm not going to be affected based on this two, and this two can go lower, right? So we can get this type of a shape. Now I wanted the shape to get a little bit nicer instead of just using my free hand to move them. So first of all, I'm going to pick up all 4 of them, have them coming in a little bit. All right, next one, I want those two to coming out, but we need to have a line as a reference. So I'm going to have a line snapping into the 0, holding the shift right here, and using that line, I'm going to rotate it from this point and going up for 45 degree there. And then this will be our guideline. Let me mark this line into the red colors. Might be easier for you to see. So when you are moving those 2 points, and we want to use the move tool, I want to make sure my near point is checked for my alt snap, and I'm going to snapping right here and just move it up with this guy. And I'm going to bump it up even more for 24. We need to have a 1 in the center, so let's go to do 28 there, so there will be a 1 right in the middle. All right, so now we have this. I'm going to use the move command, and then we're gonna moving up like that. So that's how we get this bump right there. Okay, so now we have the shape that we want, and let's go ahead to, and I don't want to do all of them, so let's go ahead to using the split command. I want to split with the point, and let's split into this quadrant and this quadrant, and we can delete the rest of them. All right, and then all we need to do is to mirror to the other side and have those two mirror to the other side as well. All right, so now we have this shape that we want, and let's go ahead to join it. Now this is going to be inside shape. I'm going to bring in a little bit like this, more close to my pendant. All right, so now we have this one. Let me turning into the green color. We'll need to figure out the rest. Now the size of a stone, I'm gonna pick up this stone and bring it up here and just size it down to whatever size that is going to fit for it. And we're gonna bring one close to here. You're going to have another one roughly right here. So that's making a copy with the gumball. Just hit the Alt key, and I wanted to align horizontally to 0. So then we will have another one here. This is just here for us to take a look if the stone is a right size. If I'm going to have another one, probably will be right here. And then we have a space in between about right here. Now it look okay to me for whatever that we have set up here. You just want to make sure that you don't want it to have a stone is way too far. In this case, if you use the measurement tool, you're going to measure in between roughly here and here, and that gives you a 0.2 millimeter, which is a good size because we need to have the prong there. Okay, if that look okay to you, we need to have them to be more accurate. I'm going to draw a line starting from this point. Make sure that I hit the tab key, and then when I move it out, it will coming out as an extension right there. All right, so this stone, it should be moving close to this curve. Whenever how far you like to have from this point to the stone, you need to move it on this line. So next one, I'm just going to bring one right there and hit the Alt key. And the same thing, I'm going to bring another one there, or you can simply just mirror within this line here, and then you can bring another one right there. Okay, so now they look okay. Let's take a look. We want to measure from this point and up, roughly about the same distance to the edges, and knowing that this is 1.32. All right, so I'm going to have this one using the offset tool, and I want to offset 1.32, hit enter, and then I'll get this shape like this. Now, sometimes you may not like offset, but the benefit is create an equal distance. If you don't like the shape, it's probably because this shape is a little bit too round. Let me put another one right here as a reference. If you offset inside, I want to discuss a little bit about this. If you offset inside, you're going to see there's a lot of a sharp point. If you offset outside, you're going to see it getting more rounded there. And that is the nature of the offset. With that saying, if you like it to be more sharper, or you want to have more control of the outside, this should be your outside shape first, and then you can offset inside. Another thing that you can do is just making a copy overall smaller. That will work too. It's up to you. So let me show you this one. If I wanted to just eyeball it and getting these things a little bit bigger, you're going to see that I keep the shape better, but unfortunately they're coming in different distance. For example, the curve right here in between from this point to this point, it's 1.38, but from this point to this point, it's 1.58. All right, so it depends on how you like your design. In this case, I will prefer just offset. So I simply just wanted to have this one, offset my curve, and for equal distance. All right, once you are done, we can have this one, this one, this one, and we want to mirror to the other side. And have this one, this one, this one, this one, and that's mirror to the other side. All right, so that's the good arrangement there. Now, next one, we wanted to creating the prong. Depends on how you like your prong. And you can see that they are not the same level. That's fine. We can pick up all the stone, and then we just need them to be aligned. So that's using align horizontal, and we want them to be aligned right there. All right, so now we have this. We just need to creating the prong. Let's go ahead to creating the prong by drawing a straight line. And with this straight line, let's go ahead to use the pipe tool. And we want to pipe it about 0.25 here for the radius, and then so we'll get some size like this. Now within this size, what you can do is you can using them as a shear prong. So let me put it into the top view. You can use them as a shear prong like this one, and the other ones for interior. Now the interior, you can make them a little bit smaller if you want to, right? But I don't suggest to be too small, it might break. As long as you are not cutting too much into the stone, so you should be fine. And I'm going to continue to moving this one. You can also not having a shear prong, just you wanted to have an individual prong, but prong to be smaller, that will work too. All right, so now I have this one and this one that we arrange, and then they look nice. We are just going to use the mirror command and mirror to the other side. And once we have that, let's go ahead to pick up those, not the stone. And we wanted to mirror to the other side as well. Okay, so after that, it's a bunch of picking and not a stone. I should have a group of the stone that might make my workflow faster. And then we just need to mirror to the other side. So now I have all the prong is arranged. Don't forget the big stone need prong too, and that's why we leave that little space there. So let's go ahead to draw a straight line, and I wanted to pipe it for a little bit bigger. With this stone size, I may wanted to do 0.6 in the radius, which is the diameter for 1.2 millimeter, and see if this is too big. If it is too big of the size, you might want to size down to 1. So let's go ahead to make them a little bit smaller. I think I make it, the space is not big enough. All right, so now we have that one there. We just need to polar array. So that's using the polar array command, and we wanted to use the prong, snapping into the 0. We need to have 4 of them. So we got something like this. Okay, now with this complete, the stone is actually floating in the air, and it's not too good. So let's go ahead to creating under bezel. So we want to use these tube snapping into the 0. And then let's go ahead to disable the all snap so we don't snap crazy. You wanted to make sure that under bezel is smaller than the stone size. All right, and then we just move it down like this. Cool. All right, so now the next things we wanted to do is pick up this curve and this curve, and we want to coming into the solid, extruded, planar, straight. We only need one side, we don't need both sides. So we want to at least cover the stone, cool it, so it doesn't showing up there. All right, so this is will be what you like. I also have other video talking about how to cut out a hole in the back of the stone. And if you like, you can make them taper by holding the control and shift using your gumball, and then you can pick up the surface right here and just 3D scale it down so it will be a little bit taper, and then you can trim the bottom all at once so this one doesn't stick out. After that, you can try to cut out the back of the stone. So you will have a hole behind it and the stone will look brighter. I have other video talking about that, so I don't want to repeat here to save some video time. And this will be the pendant for this star looking shape. I hope you enjoy the video. If you like to know more trick about jewelry CAD 3D modeling, check out my membership program. A small amount monthly fee. It's going to help me as a small YouTuber to continue making a free video for you and everybody else. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the membership program.